Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hope that each and every one of you are having an awesome and amazing day. I am sitting here, y'all, because my phone was updated the other day and I don't even know what to do not disturb. This look way different. Yeah, happy Wednesday to y'all. Hope that you all had an awesome and amazing weekend. Hope you had an awesome and amazing Thanksgiving. And we are in the month of December. Can you believe it already? Already, right? So, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Beautiful Living with Kisa, where we dive deep into real life conversations about living a fulfilled and empowered life. I'm your host, Kisa, the beauty coach. I empower women to live beautifully in life, business, and style. And tonight we're diving into a topic that is so essential for living a fulfilled and peaceful life. Protecting your peace, I'm going to say at all costs, right? And setting boundaries for a beautiful life. In a world that's constantly pulling us in different directions, work demands, family obligations, and all of the social pressures to do and be all things to everybody, it's easy to lose sight of things that truly nurture and protect our well being. So, for many of us, especially moms and wives and workaholics, for all you workaholics, and I'm not even going to say well, I am because I feel like we wear so many hats, women in general. It can feel so selfish to put yourself first, right? But here's the truth: you can't pour from an empty cup. And so, setting boundaries and prioritizing your peace is not only necessary for you, but it also makes you better for all the people that you care about. So, boundaries aren't about just shutting people out, they're not about shutting people out at all, right? Boundaries are, it helps you to create space for your peace, for your joy, and for your personal growth to flourish. So before we dive in, I want to remind you guys about the Beautiful Living movement that will be kicking off in January. So to find out more information about that, go to bit.ly / capital B, capital L, movement. That is bit.ly / capital B, capital L, movement. That in that movement, you will find like-minded women or individual who are just ready to live life authentically and just to grow, right? And so we'll be creating a life that is balanced, joyful, and authentic. So let's make this journey, take this journey together. And don't forget about the Style 911 for holidays and even beyond to help you shine in every season of life. So if you're looking for tips to elevate your personal style and make a statement at every holiday gathering and beyond the holidays, I got you covered. So stay tuned for more details during tonight's episode. So now let's jump in, right? And so when I often talk about setting boundaries because I believe that is the foundation to all that you want to do in life. If you cannot set boundaries, it's going to likely hinder you from being your best self, from growing, from reaching goals, and all the things that make life beautiful. And so boundaries are the limits and guidance we set for ourselves to define what we are comfortable with and what we are not. So whether it's in relationships, whether it's at work or your daily life, they help us communicate what our needs are. It boundaries help us protect our energy, and it maintains a sense of control over our lives. We get to do that through boundaries. So boundaries are not just about building walls to shut people out. And if we have to, then that's all good too. But instead, they create healthy spaces where mutual respect and understanding can thrive. And so let's talk about why boundaries are essential for protecting your peace. One, it helps you to prevent burnout. Without boundaries, it's easy to overexert yourself by constantly saying yes to others' demands. This leads to exhaustion, it leads to stress, it leads to resentment. Boundaries allow you to preserve your time and energy for what truly matters. Number two, Boundaries help foster healthy relationships. Setting boundaries ensures that relationships are built on mutual respect. They help others understand your limits while teaching them how to treat you appropriately, right? And so, um, healthy boundaries can strengthen connections and reduce conflict. And so, what I mean by this is, first of all, no one can read your mind, right? If there is something that is bothering you, something that you are uncomfortable with, it is up to you, the individual person, to define your boundaries and communicate it to the people that needs to hear it. And stand firm on that, because a lot of times we create these boundaries and we are afraid to stand on them because we're going to hurt somebody's feelings, or what the other person's going to feel like, and it's uncomfortable for us to share what it is. But at the end of the day, we only hurting ourselves. We are only hurting ourselves when we do not communicate our boundaries. That means you're going inward, and then you are it's just not good. Okay, so it fosters healthy relationships. You have to speak up. You have to tell people what you are not comfortable with. You have to tell people. You have to share those things. Number 3, they support emotional well-being. So boundaries protect you from situations or relationships that drain you emotionally and mentally. They give you ability to step away from negativity and prioritize your peace, right? So boundaries is like the foundation or your roadmap to living a beautiful life. But it's up to you to define what that is. And in everything, I can say that I set boundaries for everything, right? So I remember when I was writing my book at the top of the year, and I needed to be able to focus. And I have family members that pick up the phone and call me whenever they feel like it throughout the day, to talk about whatever they want to. Sometimes it's about nothing. And I pick up the phone each time, right? And so I know I'm going to be receptive to those conversations. I'm going to answer. I'm not going to ignore it. So what I had to do was put some boundaries in place. I had to go ahead and say, you know what is it that Kisa need in this season? Because I got to get this book done, right? And I had to send out a message to all my loved ones and the people that needed to know, hey, I am going on lockdown. I do not need to be disturbed. Unless you need me and it's a 911 emergency, then you keep calling until I answer, right? Other than that, I'll check in when I can come up for some air. Now, they honored my boundaries. So yay to the family. So much so that they was having family time. They was watching movies and they was getting together. And I'm just seeing pictures. And I'm like, why nobody told me? They was like, remember that boundary you put in place? For us not to reach out to you unless it was an emergency. And I was like, well, what I'm going to say about that, little Virginia? Who is that? Oh, I think I'm trying to see who is that. Eyes glued. Is that Danicus over there? No, who is that? Let me stop naming names. Danicus was my old neighbor. But I glued. Wait a minute. Is that Tracy Fritz? I don't know who that is. Tell me who you is, little Virginia, calling me by my mama. So you got to be somebody who called me by my mama. So anyway, so that it's important for you to set boundaries. And the boundaries for me in that season was I needed to be focused so I can reach a goal. And a lot of times we don't reach goals because we allow people to keep imparting and depositing themselves. Robert, that's what I was about to say. I said Teresa friend, but I meant Robert. Hey, Robert. And so basically, for me, it helps me to create and stay focused on my goals, right? And so a lot of times when we are trying to reach, or I don't like using the try, when we are in the process of reaching a goal, then you have to set the boundaries, because what'll happen is I'll call you up and be like, yo, you want to do X, Y, and Z, or girl, this and this and that. And then you hadn't communicated that boundary. And then you taking my call and you really need to be doing something else. And then you are frustrated or irritated and all the things. I'm off the phone. I don't say what I need to say. And you over there off task. And then you got to go catch up and all the things. And it's all about just communication, right? And the boundaries is not to build a wall. That boundary that I set for my family during that time was for a set period of time. The book got done. It's produced. It's out there. It's on look, here it is right here in the flesh. And it's out there everywhere, right? And so what boundaries do you need to set as you are on your journey to beautiful living? That's what I like to call it. What boundaries do you need to set as you are trying to reach your goals, right? We ain't even trying to wait till January. You ain't gonna be like, I'll just do that in January. No, it's goals that we are in December. It's still a new day. You're still above ground. You still got air in your breath, in your body. So what boundaries you need to set so that you can reach the goal. And those are temporary boundaries, right? Those are temporary boundaries that are lifted at some point, right? And so boundaries help you to, boundaries encourage self-respect. And so when you enforce boundaries, you demonstrate that your time, your energy, your feelings are valuable. This act of self-respect often encourages others to respect you as well, because people know they can't play with you. People know they can't play with you, right? And so they help you to stay focused. I just talked about that. I had to create a boundary so I can get this book done, right? I'm having to go on Do Not Disturb during the day sometimes to get stuff done, because when I hear my phone beep, when my phone ring, I likely answer it instead of saying, hey, from 9 to 3 o'clock or from 10 to 2 or whatever that looks like, this phone is on Do Not Disturb. I'm going to put it over there. People who already know how to get me, if they really need me, they'll keep calling. Then I know that it's something that I need to step away from and answer the call, right? They create room for self-care. So boundaries give you the space to care for yourself without guilt. Whether it's time for rest, whether it's pursuing hobbies, or simply reflecting boundaries, simply reflecting boundaries help you to self-care and prioritize yourself. Okay. So ultimately boundaries are a form of self-love and self-preservation. It helps you to preserve who you are, right? They empower you to protect your peace, maintain your balance, and create a life that's aligned with your values and well-being and where you're headed, right? And so don't be afraid to set boundaries. Boundaries is not a bad thing. Boundaries is a beautiful thing. Boundaries are beautiful tools in your arsenal that is going to help you to grow, help you to love better, help you to serve better, help you to be the best person that you can be. The key with the boundaries, first you have to identify what boundaries need to be set. Secondly, you need to communicate that boundaries. And oftentimes it's the second thing that doesn't happen. We sit up here and we set these boundaries and then we don't communicate it to the people. And then when somebody come and do something that's against your boundary that you have not communicated, then they feel the resentment, they feel the attitude, and I ain't even know. So that's the part that has to be reinforced. People don't like to do that because they feel like it's going to hurt the other person's feelings, or it's making you like I'm shutting out a wall, but it really ain't about them. It ain't. It ain't about them at all. It's about you. It's about what you need. And the ones that love you, they're going to honor that. They're going to respect it. And they're going to be happy for you that you stood up for yourself and said, this is what I need in this season. And so remember that boundaries is a form of self-care. And it's about putting yourself first. And so in all things, don't look at boundaries as a negative thing, but as something that you need to do as you are journeying along this thing called life. This game, as my friend would say, this game called life. And so tonight, what I want y'all to do, I want you to sit down and I need you to really think about it. Because we all have boundaries that we need to set in every area of our life, whether it's a mindset, whether it's with your spiritual, with God, not boundaries with that, but boundaries with yourself to spend more time, right? Like I've gotten so far off. I was reading my Bible every single day. I called it breakfast and Bible. I would fix my breakfast and I'd sit down and open my Bible and I would eat and read at the same time. I have not done that in probably, I want to say a week, but it's probably been 2 weeks. I've been doing it every day, except for them last 2 weeks, because I've allowed other things to start to cloud my mind and all the things. And I'm like, Keisha, you got to get back on it. What boundaries do you need to set to get back to what's important to you, right? Reading the word for me is important. Reading and having that time is important. So what boundaries do you need to set so that you can have some God time, right? What boundaries do you need to set so that you can work your body, the only temple that God gave you? What boundaries do you need to put in place? Because there's a boundary too, right? What you put in your body, what boundary do you need to set? What time you going to, like, what boundary do you need to set? what boundary do you need to set in relationships? And that's not just for other people. What boundary you need to set for yourself? What is the boundary that you need to set for yourself to honor yourself before you can ask somebody else to honor you? Okay. What boundary do you need to set in your finances? Right? I know it's the Christmas season. And if you're anything like me, baby, I was, honey, this is my season. And baby, I am gifting to the gifted and the gifter. Okay. But I ain't doing that this year. Okay. Well, I am going to be gifting, but y'all know I'm just, I'm like, okay. But because I'm choosing to set boundaries, even in finances and things like that, it's going to be still fun, but I'm going to make it's going to look different, right? Because I have goals. So what boundaries do you need to set in your finances? What boundaries? I don't even know if it's a boundary for your, yes, it is, for you in your profession. What boundaries do you need to set at work? Because I know a whole lot of people that allow people to call them after they leave work. It's a lot of people that answer their phone because they feel like every time the phone rings, it's an emergency. And I have to answer this. No, you don't. You off work? That's a boundary. This is my me time. This is my shift my brain to do something else time. So what boundary you need to set in that area? What boundaries do you need to set in your social life? Those are the 8 pillars of beautiful living that I just went through. And I went through those because I wanted you to see that boundaries need to be set in every aspect in your life. The boundary in your mind is that negative thinking. So what boundary you need to set when it comes to how you think? when I get this thought, the boundary is I will not allow it to illuminate out my mouth, and I need to switch that to something positive and look at this from a different lens. I already talked about the spiritual beauty. That's just carving out time. So what boundaries you need to set for that? And for those who are joining, the third one was what boundaries you need to set in your physical life. What you're eating, going to work out, the only one temper you got, because baby, once it starts going down, it's hard to get it back to go where it needs to be. What boundary you need to set with yourself in relationships, the self-relationship. Then the boundaries you need to set with other people. The boundaries in your finances, the boundaries at your profession, whether that's entrepreneurship or you work a 9 to 5. And if you're an entrepreneur, are you allowing your business to work you instead of you working your business? That's a boundary there. Okay. And last but certainly not least, but it's not least, because what boundaries do you need to set in your social environment with your friends, right? The friends that you hang out with all the time. Do they cause you to drink more than one time? You only want one drink, but by the time you get with Susan, you don't have 4 drinks. And when you get with Kisa, you only have that one. So maybe that's a boundary. I can't be going out with Susan by myself because I don't just do right. I got to set a boundary. Boundaries are important and they are essential. And it starts with boundaries in order for you to live a fulfilled life. And that looks like with your children, your parents, your friends, it's everybody, whoever you think that is, right? Set some boundaries. Set some boundaries if needed. So, again, I am Kisa Campbell, and I am gearing up to start the Beautiful Living Movement. And to learn more about the Beautiful Living Movement, I encourage you and invite you to go to bit.ly/capital B, capital L movement. Can somebody put that in the chat for me, please? That's bit.ly/capital B, capital L movement. So that way you can learn more. It's an interest meeting that I do, and I spell out everything that comes in that. It's a membership, and what you get in this monthly membership. So I'm excited. It's something that I've done many, many, many years ago. It was called something else, and so I'm picking it back up because I ran this membership for a minute, but now I'm calling it something I'm going to fuse those things that I did in the movement back when it was called the I Am movement. And so I'm going to be infusing some things in the Beautiful Living movement. So I'm excited about that. And we'll be kicking that off in January. So if you are interested and want more information, go to bit.ly/capital B, capital L movement. And don't forget about the Style 911, right? I said for the holidays, but it's beyond the holidays. If you are ready to show up for what you are called to do in this God season, all right, you ready to elevate your look, your style, and all those things. Thank you so much, sis. Do it again for me. It's lowercase m, lowercase m. So type it again for me, bit.ly/capital B, capital L, lowercase movement. And thank you for that. And so, what'd she say? Hey, here are the dates. Oh, there you go, Diane. Thank you, darling. Yes, those are the dates, right? For the next interest meeting. So if you just sign up, you'll get the information anyway. Keep you posted on Saturday. Yes. So yeah, Saturday will likely be at 11 o'clock. All right. Thank you, Candace. Thank you, sis. Thank y'all for putting that out there. And so, yeah, Diane has already joined the movement, so I'm excited about that. But anywho, so just know that boundaries are essential. In order for you to live a fulfilled life, you have to know that boundaries are healthy, they are important, they are safe, and they are essential. They are essential for beautiful living. Okay, they are essential for beautiful living. Hey, Lunny, I see you over on Instagram. And so I am going to wrap this up. If y'all missed it, I always keep it up. You can go back, but I just want you to understand that boundaries is just like saying no, right? It's not a bad word. It's not a bad thing. It is actually a beautiful thing. And some boundaries are just seasonal. Like I mentioned when I was writing my book, I had to communicate to the people I love that this is what it is for me, right? This is what it is. And it was just for a season. And that boundary was lifted. And because the people that I had to communicate with, they loved me so much, they respected that boundaries. And I did miss out on some stuff because they really did honor my boundaries. They did not call me for nothing, okay? And so I missed out on the family times. And I just saw pictures of it after all. But, that was what I put in place. And so in closing, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight for this important conversation about protecting your peace through boundaries. That's how you protect your peace. You set the boundaries, you stand on your boundaries. Don't apologize for those boundaries. Communicate them in love and with love. In love and with love. And people should be receptive of them. And if not, oh well. It's oh well for them, right? And so setting boundaries isn't always easy, especially if you use to putting other people first, right? And that's the hard part about setting boundaries because we're like, I don't really want to tell them this. It makes you feel sad or whatever it does because you don't really want to communicate it, but it's for you, right? But one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself is set boundaries. So as we wrap up, I want to invite you one more time to the Beautiful Living Movement. Absolutely, Regina. Yes, set those boundaries and go to bit.ly/B, capital L movement to learn more on we're going to do this whole year journey. And I'm so excited about it. You're going to learn how to set some boundaries. I mean, I probably won't talk about that, but by the time we're done and all the things that we'll be doing for ourselves, you're going to get that with no issue. Okay. And don't forget about the Style 911. If you are looking to elevate your style for this season and every season of life, because when you feel good, you look good at the end of the day. You can just go to KeishaCampbell.com just go to KeishaCampbell.com. You'll see it. And just fill out the style assessment and we can go from there. So remember, boundaries are a form of love and not just for yourself, but for the people in your life. They create the space for healthier relationships, clear communication, and more joy in your daily life. So for more practical tips in how you can continue to grow and elevate in life and style, grab my book, The Journey to Beautiful Living, 7 Pillars for Living a Fulfilled Life. I talk about boundaries in here too, but I talk about putting yourself first. And a whole lot of other things and purpose and all the great things, right? And I have an ebook called Release the Style in You. Go grab it because I will be pulling that down soon. It will be replaced with something else later. And follow me on LTK. The link is in my bio and my Amazon storefront for more style tips. And visit my website at KisaCampbell.com for all of your life, business, and style needs, right? And as always, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to be here with me. You can be anywhere doing anything else in the world, right? But you decided to be here with me, to hear me talk about boundaries on tonight. And so I am very appreciative to each and watcher. So beautiful living isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's about moving forward, really. It's about knowing what it is that you want and going after it. It's about putting yourself first. It's about self-care. It's about all the beautiful things and not so beautiful things, navigating those spaces as well. And it's not a destination, it's a journey that we take every single day. It's about deciding what we want our lives to look like and taking the steps to make that vision a reality. Speaking of vision or reality, stay tuned because I will be doing this vision experience that I do. I'm so excited and looking forward. It's coming up. So I will be dropping that out on social media for you to attend if you want to be present. But every day above ground is an opportunity to make your life truly beautiful. It's not about perfection, but it's about progress. So let's take this journey together, supporting and uplifting one another along the way. Don't forget to follow. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe and share this episode with a friend because you know somebody who needs to set some boundaries. So go ahead and share this with a friend. And I'll see you next time for real talk, inspiration, and empowerment right here on Beautiful Living with Kisa. Until next time, keep embracing your journey, keep living beautifully, and always remember your next chapter is waiting for you to make it amazing. And know that beautiful living awaits you. Good night.